And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm National Weather Service meteorologist Peter Chan on this September 16th, a Saturday. This will give you an update on the general weather occurring across Alaska over the next couple of days and even beyond. If you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. You point and click anywhere on this map of the continental U.S. It'll pull up a forecast and any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories for anywhere in the country, including Alaska and Hawaii to the lower left, and then the various territories, American Samoa, Guam, and Puerto Rico. Well, of major news today has been the remnants of Hurricane Lee, now an extratropical storm with 70-mile-an-hour winds impacting eastern Maine, especially along the east coast of Maine. Strong winds, high surf, briefly heavy rains, biggest threat. Obviously some erosion and the strong winds taking down trees and causing power outages, but that system is lifting northward up into Canada and will continue to gradually weaken. Further west across northern Rockies into Washington state, we have some red flag warnings for high fire danger. But here in Alaska, along the Kenai River last week was quite active with 2 glacier dam releases that caused flooding. So the Kenai River will continue to slowly recede as we head through this weekend and into next week. One other thing of note, we have the fall colors peaking across the interior, and Shashalden volcano, which had been rather active late this past week, sending an ash and gas plume up to 40,000 feet, has at least quieted down to, it's in part of a eruption sequence where now it's in some lower activity levels, so hopefully that continues. The autumn equinox arrives 10:50 p.m. this Friday evening on September 22nd, and looking ahead into the week ahead, near normal early fall weather pattern will continue and probably persist through the end of the month. So here is the Kenai River gauge just below Ski Lac Lake. We had the Snow Glacier, Glacier Dam Lake release up there on Kenai Lake, and then we also had the Ski Lac Glacier dam release occur. So we had a dual glacier dam releases happening, which caused pretty high flood water levels to come down the river. So the Kenai River crested right near 15.2 feet early on Wednesday and has been steadily falling since. And conditions will continue to slowly improve. The water levels will remain high here as we go into the rest of this weekend, early next week, especially the middle and lower river down towards Sterling and Soldotna. Looking at a couple of the FAA webcams on the Saturday afternoon, look at Fort Yukon. There in the Yukon Flats, right at peak fall colors, birch and cottonwoods really showing those golden colors. Temperature there 48 degrees. Cordova getting slammed by rain, low clouds, fog. There's a strong low pressure entering the Gulf. Along the Gulf will be some stronger winds. Winds were gusting almost to 60 miles an hour there off of Cordova at Seal Island early this Saturday afternoon. And here on the satellite imagery, generally low pressure resides across most of the state. Here is the stronger low. Central pressure now is just below 970 millibars, and this low is going to track northeastward up into the northern Gulf and continue to bring wind and rain along areas of the Gulf Coast. Interior, we have a couple weaker areas of low pressure from northwest Canada back toward the lower Chukchi Sea, Kotzebue Sound area. And then another one back out here way toward the western Aleutians and another south of the central Aleutians. And this is the main low that'll impact at least the mainland and Gulf Coast areas here as we go through the weekend. 969 low as of this Saturday afternoon, a weaker low back here toward Kotzebue Sound, and a couple troughs of low pressures from previous systems that have tried to work their way further inland. By the time we get into late tonight, early on Sunday, low is still down near 970 millibars, and we expect gale force winds along this frontal band, along with some areas of moderate to locally heavier rain possible. Up in through the mountains this time of year, we do expect some snow, and not uncommon at all. And then back toward the west, there's another weaker low south of the eastern Aleutians early Sunday morning. As that comes eastward, it will deepen a bit, but not quite as strong as the one that's currently working its way up into the Gulf. And that'll be the next low that impacts areas, especially of the northeastern Gulf and on over toward the Panhandle. There's another low back out toward the central Bering by Monday afternoon, well north of the central Aleutians and well west of St. Paul and the Pribilof Islands. Off to the further north, though, we'll see cooler temperatures, and there could be a little mix of precipitation from time to time. Looking at low temperatures, Sunday morning lows generally near or just above 50th central southern panhandle, 40s to the north, 40s for lows here across along the northern and northwestern Gulf, as well as in through the interior. Any places that get some breaks in the clouds, we'll see lows dipping into the 30s. Afternoon highs across the entire region, whether or not you had a few peaks of sunshine or under clouds and rain, generally in the 50s for highs. West of the Alaska Range, it could be a bit cooler, McGrath 48. And then lows again Monday morning will generally be in the 40s with some 30s possible up toward Talkeetna and on over toward Glen Allen. And on Monday afternoon, we expect temperatures to only be in the lower 50s, mid 50s at best, maybe 55 at Kodiak, a few 56 or so around Klawak and around Craig in the southwestern portion of the Panhandle. To the far north, it is cooling down, more typical early fall temperatures, readings just above freezing along the Arctic coast, near 40 for lows along the Yukon River toward Fairbanks and down along Norton Sound. For Sunday afternoon, we look for highs that could still break 50 in through the Yukon Flats along the Alcan border. Otherwise, upper 30s to near 40 along the Arctic coast, generally 40s elsewhere extending westward across the Seward Peninsula and surrounding Norton Sound. Temperatures Monday morning may be a bit cooler. Again, if you get any clearing this time of year, it's very easy to drop down a bit below freezing. Still could hold on to near 40 in the Yukon Flats. And then temperatures Monday afternoon will generally be a bit cooler, mid-upper 30s along the Arctic coast. Otherwise, along the Yukon River, mid-40s for highs, lower 40s back toward the Seward Peninsula, including Nome, up toward Wales. Looking at the southwest interior, lows upper 30s to around 40 degrees. A few pockets of colder readings just on the other side of the Alaska Range. We get a little downsloping and some partly cloudy skies. 40s along the Aleutians. Temperatures Sunday afternoon will be warmest over toward Dillingham, King Salmon, maybe about 53, 57 Kodiak City. Otherwise, lower 50s along the Alaska Peninsula to mid-50s into the Aleutians. And Monday morning lows again, generally some 30s. Could be a few areas down near freezing again if you get any breaks in the cloud cover. Still 40s, lower to mid 40s along the Aleutians up through the Alaska Peninsula, and temperatures on Monday afternoon will stay below 40 north and west there of Bethel, especially down toward the lower Yukon Delta, with afternoon highs low mid 50s from Dillingham to Kodiak City, and then back across towards False Pass and on up through Dutch Harbor back toward Adak and even Atka. Looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from September 22nd through the 26th. Remember, the equinox occurs late on September 22nd. We expect temperatures to average near normal across much of the state. This includes the Alaska Peninsula and the southeast panhandle, maybe a little above normal north of the Yukon River, especially along central eastern Brooks Range and portions of the North Slope, including areas along the Arctic coast. Precipitation is expected to be near or a bit above average. The best chance maybe of a little above average precipitation will be areas around Norton Sound up into the Seward Peninsula, especially areas, say, from St. Mary's on up toward Nome could see precipitation average just a little above normal due to the fact we're anticipating some systems bringing in more of a southwest flow coming in off of the Bering.